to class today, huh?
Yeah. About to start slanging.
Well, there were like few accidents on as usual, so I don't know if
Right,
everybody's
it's
run-
like-
Yeah,
I did not run into an accident today.
You did not?
On the 60.
Yeah. Well, 101.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
That place always.
Actually, I didn't take 60 today. I took the next exit, and then I came from the inside road. So I was like, oh, maybe that might be better.
No.
Yeah.
They felt smooth today?
Well, there was less traffic
I
and no
took the 60
accident.
today.
60 seemed
It
pretty
wasn't
bad.
too
I
bad
mean.
once
It
I was
wasn't?
on the 60.
Okay.
Getting to the 60 took a while.
Yeah. I just made peace with it that it's not never going to be better. So.
Okay, good question. Which one should we put the screen on? Put it off.
Any?
Probably this one. This one. We're all sitting right here, right? Well, I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah.
Eric wants
Man,
that
just you
one.
today?
We are.
It's just you today?
We are.
Where's your keyboard?
On that one. It's gone.
Okay, try the link I just sent it. Hopefully, it's a better resolution. I fixed a few things later on with it.
Let me just,
Hey, we're
So you interview.
There was like some break
Yeah,
keyboard.
What kind of stuff?
it's like a junior design.
I suppose late when you break some of my computers, I kill like 3 computers.
They're walking in, like trickling in, like you did.
I'm trying to teach myself Java.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but I haven't really. I've made a few APIs, nothing serious.
Yeah. I think they would be a good job. Because they're national and great benefits.
Yeah, one of the guys on our team got started and so does the company.
Yeah.
He said it was fun, pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're starting out. We'll see what happens. You know, it'll be a good experience interviewing with companies.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Sure.
I don't get the question.
What up, Batman? Orlando.
What the survey makes
Is the pharmacy world crazy?
Stupid. Especially nowadays with all the snowbirds.
Oh, yeah. When did the snowbirds officially start coming?
September.
Oh, do they? And then they what, leave like March?
February, May,
Okay.
around that time period. We got a few stragglers that stay, and then a few stragglers that don't stay.
Yeah, and they're regulars. Are you gonna stream to that one? Gotcha.
It's not working?
Not your stream.
So the stream doesn't show up anything?
The stream shows up.
Oh, okay, it's not working over here.
Sorry, streamers. It's just for the class.
How you doing, guys?
Tickets.
Is like the screen system just completely messed up now?
Pretty much. I broke it. It's okay.
Yellow broken.
It was me, actually.
Yeah, yellow broken. And remember we got soy sauce out of it.
They weren't working last night, so I didn't have good hope for tonight. But I figured I'd stop by and
Oh, okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
take 5 minutes at the beginning if that's
Sure.
cool.
Sure.
Sweet.
Or you can tell me.
Are you guys ready to start? Or?
Yeah, we're ready to start.
Cool.
So guys, this is JJ. He's a lead instructor over here. He's
I just wanted to
the
stop by, excuse me, but I came teenager for a second there.
Carson does it a lot. It's okay.
Yeah. Like Dana said, my name is JJ Brenner. I'm the lead instructor here for the University of Arizona relationship. What that means is I'm in charge of the instructional staff and really kind of the experience that we create for students here. So I'm kind of like Daniel's boss, but at the same time not really. Because if like we had to fire him or something, it wouldn't be me. It'd be somebody else. So I get to do the cool things like interacting with you guys and kind of managing how we present the curriculum, et cetera, et cetera. But then if something difficult comes up like that, I can pass it off to someone else. But really, it's one of our goals and really what we want to do with this relationship is create the best possible experience for you all in this boot camp. You guys are all investing a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money to come to change your life, to give your life a new trajectory, right? And sometimes things happen outside of our control, things like the audiovisual situation not working for an extended period of time. So I wanted to come and give you guys my apologies and kind of apologies from the University of Arizona side of things of, hey, we know it sucks, it's not optimal. The same thing happened in my classroom just a few weeks ago, and we were out for 3 weeks while people bickered over who was going to pay for what, when, and et cetera, et cetera. Here's what I can say is that this issue has been elevated to the highest levels that it possibly can within our chains of command, and people are threatening with all sorts of legal words. I've watched the messages fly back and forth, and I'm like, I know some of these words. But working very diligently to try and get it dealt with. The reason it takes so long, the only explanation I can give is, well, it's a government entity. So nothing happens very quickly when you start dealing with that. I'm not sure if any of you know the history of this building or not, but it was originally built by the city of Gilbert for a university not dissimilar from Park that built the whole building, made all these commitments, and then backed out at the last minute. Kind of left the city of Gilbert holding the ball for everything. So they've been working to try and recoup all of that ever since. And no one has been on this floor until we were. Literally the only thing that they did up here until basically your class started, I think you guys were always up here, yeah?
yes.
Okay, was trained police dogs up here. And I'm not even kidding. We weren't even allowed to go up there because there might be police dogs up there and no one wanted to lose a limb. So this floor was totally vacant until 6-ish months ago, and so they're still working on a lot of the kinks, and I apologize for that. But I wanted to offer my assistance and support, and anything that we can do to make your experience better. Again, that's what my main focus is with all of this, is to make the student experience as awesome as possible. Because it's a big commitment, this is a big thing that you're all doing. I know I couldn't learn all this stuff in 6 months. No way, it took me 12 years to get where I'm at. But again, wanted to offer my support, you can always reach out to me. I'm not in your Slack, but you can always hit me up via email. My email is just jjbrenner@bootcampspot.com. So feel free to reach out to me. These guys know how to get a hold of me. I'm always right down the hall in the classroom if you ever want to just come and yell and scream at somebody or whatever. That's part of what I do. So again, apologize for the audio-visual situations here with the room. Hopefully it will be fixed very, very soon. I hate to make any sort of commitments because I don't want to let you down in that, but we're working on it. It's a known issue, and again, as far as I can, it's been elevated to that level. So, any question, anything I can do to help you all, anything at all? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, FYI, the bathroom door for me.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just throwing that out there, and the doors are never open to get in this building.
It's the bathroom situation is also. So the last time I raised it, the response I got was, "We know." I don't know what that means, but that was the response that I got was, "Okay, we know." So hopefully that will be addressed shortly. And what was the other piece? You said something, or just the bathroom never open? Oh, the doors, they're not open when they're supposed to be, or?
Like if I come at 6:30, I have
Yeah.
to knock on the glass to get in.
Well, fortunately or not, that's working as intended. They have a very small window of which the doors are officially open to us, but we can always pop down and
Right, that window, is that window not
up,
open?
up to 6:30 is when they're open, quote unquote. So unless other people are here, I get it. It's something we're working on with that, but we'll certainly roll that up as feedback. You're not the first person to mention that as well. So, anyways, like I said, unfortunately or not, that currently is working as intended. So, what else? What else can I help you guys with? Questions, comments, concerns, anything? Go ahead.
Can we put the survey after we log into class on time?
That I have zero control over. I would roll it up as feedback as part of your surveys because those get looked at by all sorts of different levels of people within the organization.
Yeah, let's make it more convenient.
Yeah,
Just log in Monday.
part.
That's still inconvenient.
No, it's
some of the intentionality behind it is to kind of put it in your face so that you don't skip it or forget it. But I hear you. That I have zero control over though. Definitely, the best thing to do is to roll that up as feedback through your surveys, because honestly, that will get to
I'm in
more.
too big of a hurry to fill it out.
You can always just give us all fives and say,
That doesn't help you.
It's
Yeah,
class
that's
too
exactly
fast.
what ends up happening.
Yeah,
it's so the
The
other.
same reason we put ASDF as the comment.
Yeah, the other flip side of that is, as long as you're here and you check in when you check, as long as you've checked in, right? If it checks you in as late, that's okay. It doesn't count against you, right? As long as it says you're here, the thing you want to not have happen is it register you as absent, right? So I know as humans we're kind of designed to avoid those sorts of things, like, oh, I don't want to be late, I don't want to be late. In this case, I would say, hey, if that's the reason why you're rushing through it, take the extra minute or two and provide the honest feedback. And then if it says late on there, wonderful. It literally does not change anything about the way that your course is evaluated or anything like that. So, what else? Anything?
I didn't realize the issue was as big as it was.
With the
Audio-visual.
yes, it seems to be systemic. Again, I think it kind of came from the fact that no one was ever using these rooms, and then suddenly they were in fairly heavy usage.
I just meant like I didn't realize people were as upset as they apparently are.
Well, it is frustrating.
It's super frustrating.
We're literally after the stream what Daniel's doing from the other side of the room Saturday.
Yeah.
So this is an okay workaround, but obviously again not optimal. And what I want is better than optimal. I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to this thing, and if it's not awesome, then what do we do to make it awesome? So that's why I wanted to make sure I stop by and just say hi and make sure you know that we're fighting for you and we're doing everything we can. I'm here. Of course, if you have any questions ever, don't ever ask. Anything else? I can do it for you. Yeah.
When we're talking about audio visual, the desks that are downstairs that have monitors on the end of them, if you plug in the HDMI cords that are there, it doesn't go through.
Oh, you mean in the lobby?
Yeah. the lobby.
Yeah, those have never worked very well. I've been doing this for a few years, and those have worked like 60% of the time every time. So
It's like they're off, like you can't even.
yeah,
You don't have
those
a shot
those
at
are
it.
all Park University now. So I cannot comment as to their functionality.
I have your right phone into it, so I'm good.
Yeah, if you can get into that way, then it sometimes works, but they've never worked great. Because they didn't work for you guys either, did they? Yeah.
What?
The tables downstairs in the lobby.
Like power wise?
Like you could plug in your computer and it worked.
Oh, that.
I think
worked,
Cody
but
figured it
Wi-Fi
out how to do it, but he like ran it through like three different systems and basically faked it into thinking that it was plugged into itself or something like that. He explained it to me one day, but he was like, "Well, I did this, and then I ran it through my Nintendo Switch," and I'm like, "What? What are you doing?"
I think the response on this was U of A isn't renting that part, so they
Yeah.
have no say in whether
I guess
it's
you
on
could.
Probably different Cody.
Probably.
Anything else? Well, I'm here. Definitely, if you have questions, comments, whatever it is, let me know. Like I said, I'm just right down the hall. Every night you're here. Feel free to reach out to me via email. These guys know how to get a hold of me too if you ever need to. So feel free anytime. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, I will make sure that you guys have my email address again. It's just jjbrenner@bootcampspot.com. But I'll make sure that these guys get you all my contact details. So, cool. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Can we get an HDMI splitter for the meantime?
Can we get a splitter in the meantime? If I had one, I would give it to you. I don't have any.
Thank you, JJ.
I'm a software guy, not a hardware. It's like how many software engineers does it take to change a light bulb?
0 is a hardware problem.
Thank you, JJ.
You bet.
All right, since that is out of the way, so let's start the class. We have a lot of stuff to cover today. You see units 5 to 12. Ideally, I would like to get to 12, but I don't think we might not be able to. So 12 is more of a it's very similar to what homework you guys have for next week. So what I'm going to do is I won't walk through the solution. I will show you how it works. If you have time, give it a try. Otherwise, at the end of the class, I'm going to post the solution for it. But do give it a try, the last one. Chances are we might not be able to get to it. But 5 to 11, we definitely have to. All right? You might feel that today's class might be a little bit faster, or we're going through it. Again, we are kind of towards the end. The expectations are higher. The stakes are higher. Kind of, right? So a lot of the stuff that you're going to see, it might seem new. Like we're going to look at some of the newer JavaScript libraries, but they're kind of very similar now. You guys should be able to draw patterns between the libraries. We did the sequelize one. So what we are going to do today is we are going to start with some concept called web scraping. Then we are going to look at, when we did MySQL, we looked at MySQL Node.js library too, right, at the next class. So today, similar pattern, we're going to look at Mongo Node.js library that's out there. That will help us get the data in our Node application, since we did just Mongo on Saturday. All right. Let's see. There's a sorting functionality in MongoDB. We're going to look at that too. But that's kind of very short. Should be easy. But a lot of exercises so that you kind of get to understand how to use MongoDB in your Node.js code, like we did for MySQL. And all of these especially are kind of similar to your homework for next week. So do make sure that you understand what's going on. Okay. I did post a lot of people kind of asked me about project 3, so I posted the details. I'm not going to answer any questions right now, but if you understand the details, please go through them. They are on Slack, kind of self-explanatory. So go through them. Again, I won't be making any groups, so if you have any idea you want to run by some people, kind of get a group together, please feel free. So, okay. If you notice, authentication is kind of mandatory over there. So kind of start looking into it. Let's see. Oh yeah, one more thing. Mongo and SQLize, there's an option for Project 3. So if you guys are more comfortable with MySQL, go for it. If you like MongoDB, go for it. Okay? All right. So let's start today's class, web scraping. Any idea what web scraping means, other than saying scraping the web? Any thoughts? Anybody know what kind of hinted?
Pulling specific data that you're looking for off the web. Or
Right.
searching it to pull specific data.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of what Google does.
Yeah. Kind of what Google does.
Keywords.
Yep. And that is what web scraping is. So until now we have looked getting data from the web. What method we have looked? How do we get data from the web right now? You did your projects, exercises, APIs. So we're using APIs to get the data, right? So we're kind of dependent on somebody who writes an API, and then we call that API and get the data. Web scraping is another way. What you do is you have a website, you have a simple HTML. You pull the whole HTML in your code and kind of parse it and get the data that you want. Okay, so I have a web page. Let's say, let me open. Okay, let's try this one. Okay. We already have it up there now. Let's suppose I'm looking at web dev subreddit, right? There's no API. I just want to get this. Suppose I have an idea that I think I can make it better or something, or my website is going to have this data. I want to get all the news feed or whatever it's showing up on Reddit on my app or on my website, right? There's no API that exposes the data. So what I can do is I can actually get the HTML that is behind it and then pull this information out of it, right? That's what web scraping is. Kind of get the idea of what I'm doing? So I am making a request. And so from your browser, when you type in the URL, it kind of shows up the HTML, right? Your browser renders that HTML. So that HTML code is coming to you from the server. So why not I make an app that I make the same request and the HTML comes to me, and then I can parse it and extract whatever information I want. Right? So on that note, what do you guys think? Is it kind of illegal? I can do that with any website. Right? As long as what?
As long as you cite it, you got the data from it.
Where would I cite the website? On my the bottom?
Like Wikipedia.
Like Wikipedia? Well, yeah. As long as you cite the website. I don't know. I don't want to clutter my whole website saying, "Hey, this data is obtained from here."
I would
But
say
that's an
it
option.
would be legal as long as you're not creating something that's supposed to be an exact thing of the website, saying it's your own. Rather, like if you were to take a YouTube video of some music video,
Right.
and being not reference that it's owned by the artist or whatever.
Okay. What were you saying, Eric?
Well, I'm just thinking elements of websites are public domain
Mm-hmm.
because all the information is publicly accessible.
Right. The
Be different
website
if you were
is.
logging in.
But what I'm not getting, I'm getting the code for that website, and then.
Well, the code is publicly
Yeah,
available
that's
too.
Code is
access.
The
public
HTML
domain.
is at least.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
well, there's no right or wrong answer. The answer is it's not illegal, at least, and that's where we software engineers stop. We're like, well, it's not illegal, so it's kind of we are not very on the highest list of ethical people, so unfortunately.
You mean
Alright.
wanting to steal apps?
Huh?
You mean wanting to steal ideas?
Yeah. so it's not officially illegal, and that's where I stopped too. So I mean, nobody has said that it's illegal. So it's kind of like a gray area. Some people are against it, some people are for it. But as long as the code is available, view source, I don't think there's anything stopping. I've done a gig back in, this is like 12 years ago. I did write a web scraper. So it used to extract information. Not necessarily very proud or not proud of it. I did back in 2006. Again, it was not my idea, but I didn't steal it. It was a friend's idea, but he wanted a coder, and that's where I came in. I wrote that application in C#, WinForms. It was a desktop application. You know those directory listing, like your phone book, and so you have those online, right? So my app would go to those website and take the information, bring it, and it was the same thing. I would parse the HTML. But I was doing is it was a string parsing. I would get the whole HTML, parse it out, show it in a table. That's it. But you'll be surprised. It was kind of popular, especially in offshore countries, call centers, and people paid for that app. Yeah, yeah. So we were selling it, and then we were like, hey, why don't we substitute to a subscription model? So we then went to a subscription model, and it was like by month. Then you would pay us this much money, and all I was doing literally was going to this website, which is free online, take that web scraper, put it on my desktop application. That's all it was. We did some pocket money out of it. But after it's not there anymore, I kind of after 4 or 5 years, kind of got bored of it. So what's the problem with the web scraping? One thing. So you're getting your changes. Exactly. That's the biggest problem over here. Changes. People update their website. They kind of change the tags. What happens? Your app is going to break. So that's the kind of got bored with it. We stopped after a while. Well, I quit. I was like, I'm kind of bored. Maintaining that was like hell. It was good as long as that, but there was no more challenge after it. I wrote the code, the algorithm, everything worked. But then, after that, it was just like, oh, the pre-title changed. Now I have to go back and change it. Oh, they changed the class name. Now so I have to go and change. So, but that's what web scraping is. Again, it's another way you can get the data. API is not available. Kind of think about it. In your project, you guys must have faced it. That, oh, I want this, but there's no API for it. Then what do? You just stop over there, right? Now you have another venue you can give it a try. Try web scraping. If there's a website, but there's no API, get the HTML and parse it and see what happens. What's the other issue? So let's suppose I have, this is of course not one page, right? They're like multiple pages. So what do? So you can write code to keep calling those pages, right? But it runs on the computer, so it's kind of fast, right? How do you think it's faster response, right? So I'm making a call to page 1, but I'm a human, then I go and click, then I make a page 2, 3. But the computer would be like, if you write a for loop, it's going to be faster, right? So what happens is the website kind of have think there's a DDoS attack or something, so they kind of start blocking those IPs. That's another one. A lot of websites do it now. But the workaround for that is also you add a timer, kind of delay it. Make a nice UI with a spinning tool. It's coming. and that worked. Like people were like, okay, that's fine. It's coming. Yeah. So those are kind of challenges, but there are some workarounds. So let's. So today I'm going to start with the web scraping part. We'll see. In today's world, there are a lot of libraries out there. It's kind of made it life easier how you can do it. Especially because it's not illegal. So one of those libraries is, take a look at it, it's called Cheerio, Cheerio. Again, of course, they don't advertise saying that it's a web scraping thing, but it's like the software Kodi, right? They don't advertise that this is a pirated software. They're sharing your multimedia. So it's kind of similar to that. We are going to look at Cheerio. That's one of the Node.js library. What Cheerio does is it's basically jQuery on steroids. So what they have done, they have taken the good parts of jQuery and they have made it a little bit faster and they have more functionality, parsing, and all that stuff. But the syntax is kind of similar to jQuery. So we are going to take a look at that one. Let's see if Oh no, wrong search.
Daniel, why are you on?
As soon as I,
incognito?
oh, because I was on Reddit and I didn't want to sign in. As soon as I go on a non-incognito mode, it will sign me in to Reddit. So I didn't want you guys seeing that. So, so this is the library. If you see, it's kind of, they have the similar syntax, and that's what you're going to look at it. So what we are going to do is what Cheerio does is, if you see this line load, it will load the whole HTML, and then it gives you access to that HTML. Okay, and then what you would do is you would go through the HTML and then extract the information out. So they have some traversing options. These are, what happened to this one? Doesn't look nice. No refreshes. Oh, I wonder if it is because of the incognito. I don't know. It's working. Okay. Anyway, so they have, let's see. That is the problem. I don't know, something broke on their end. Anyway, so they have these options that we are going to look at. Some of them are find, so it will find something selector from your HTML. There's a siblings, there's a children, some bit here. So these are all the things that we are going to use and kind of extract our HTML out. Okay. The another one that we are going to look at is the axials. I'm not going to go into too detail because you guys should have kind of worked on it on your homework, but I'm going to use that to make that HTTP call. Okay. So first thing is, again, as you guys were saying, view page source kind of gives you access to the HTML. So basically what we're doing is we're going to look at this HTML, find a pattern, and then run our loops and Cheerios to extract that information out. This doesn't seem very user-friendly. What I found was if you Google HTML formatter, this one is a really good one. So let me go this. I need to copy this and then paste it here. Okay. So what I do is I look at what I'm trying to extract out. So these are the headings, and I want the links and the text, like whatever it says, like Firefox desktop market share. These are all the headlines. So I want these, and then I also want the link that these are referring to. Okay, whatever it's behind. So easier would be if I search for Firefox desktop market share. Let's see where this is. Firefox. Yeah. So this is my heading. So this is probably the HTML that they are using. Okay. So I try to go a little bit backtrack and see what is kind of unique. Let's see. Let's look at this one. P title. So what I would do is I would paste this, and then all my P titles should be referring to a new article. Okay, so this one is also something announcing ASP, and I see 28 results. Okay, so for sure now I kind of make a guesstimate that P title is always going to give me that this is what I want. This piece of code is always going to give me a news article or whatever I'm looking for. Okay, and nothing else on this HTML is using p title that I don't want. Okay, again, it's
how did you find the
beginning of the body. What was that?
When you format it, how did you find the beginning of the content for the p tag?
Oh, for the p tag. Well, I didn't find. Yeah. So what I did was these are. So I'm interested in these things, right? Yeah, I just did a search for one of these news articles. So one of these articles took me somewhere over here. So these are like this one over here. Where's the, let's see if something else. Yeah, Microsoft is building a Chromium Power, blah, blah, blah. So I want this information. I'll figure out later on what I exactly, how do I parse it. But right now, my first attempt is to find something unique that's only linked to this. Because we'll see when you're parsing, it doesn't differentiate what you're looking for. It will just give you exactly what the code does. If you say search all the P class title for me, it will search through the whole document. Now, whether it is important to you or not, that's your part to figure out. Okay? But I did my search. If there's anything else that is unique, you can use that. Maybe search for A class title, May blank. Hopefully, all of these have the same pattern. Okay? But we'll start with this one. So now I know that each P class title will give me a unique kind of the article that I'm looking for. So let's see one more thing here. So I have P class title. Where does it end? So okay, so my first P title or whatever this block is over here, and then the next one starts over here. So I know my code that I need is somewhere over here. So I'm looking for this heading. So I'll figure out how to extract this out. And I'm also looking for the link. So we'll see where the link is. P class, let's see where it ends. Okay, so this, yeah. So this is where this ends. I'm only interested in everything over here. So what I would do, this is my method to kind of extract this out. So I'm going to format this again. Oh, that didn't do very well. I was hoping it would give like a new line and all this. But, okay, so but this is the code I'm interested. Let's take a look at it. So I have a P class title, okay, and then I have a anchor A goes here, here, here. This is the link I'm interested in. And where does it end? Keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. This one? Yeah? And then I have a title. Okay. So how is this? So I have a P tag, which is, I can say it's a parent. All right. Within P tag, I have a tag. All right. After, well, no, A actually ends over here. Now I see it. It's over here. Okay. So I have a P tag, which is my parent. Then I have a A tag. And what else do I have? So I have P, and then within P I have A. Is there anything else that I have? Right, I'm just talking about the tags. So P tag, that's the parent, big one. And then within P there's A tag. And then I see a span also. So span, but they both are on the same level. So there's a span tag. What else? Is there any other tag? Well, there are a couple of span tags. Okay. So this one is also there. So 2 span tags. Okay. Okay. Any questions on this? Are we good? Kind of getting the hang of it? So we are trying to find a pattern, and then we are going to come and the extraction part is easy. Writing the code is easy. Figure out the pattern, that's probably the more difficult part. Okay. So now we know that P is the parent and it has 3 childs, A, span, and span. Okay. Span and span we are not interested in. So right now we are just interested in the P tag and then the A tags, most probably. Okay. So this is the parent and this is the child. All right. Good. All right. So what I want to do is I want to find the P tag in this HTML, the big one, all the P tags. Yeah, in this one, I want to find all the P tags. In this P tag, I'm going to extract the child A out, and that's it. And then I will go to my A tag. Let's see what I need to do after I get it out.
So they both have a class and title. I'm assuming you want to be specific enough.
Yes, we are going to search for P class exact this tag. Yes, because if you see, I searched for the exact one, and that's the unique one. So I'm going to search for exactly the same thing. Yes, and then when I get to it, I'm going to say, hey, give look up this child, and I also want to get that heading right, where it says Microsoft does something. Where is it?
Building a Chromium powered browser.
Yeah, where is that? Oh, this one.
Second to last line.
Okay. Well, actually, this. Did I get this right? There's no A tag. Oh, sorry. So this ends over here.
The A tag is all the way at the beginning of the last line.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I want to get this out, and then the link. Let's see if there's. I'm not sure. Where's the link for this? Okay, I have the link and the title. Okay, so this is the Microsoft building the title. Okay, and that's it. I want to search this to make sure this is not anywhere else. Okay, this is the only place I can get. All right. All right. So now we'll go and do the coding part. We'll see how Cheerio is going to help us with that. So the code is already there, but I'll create a new file so that you guys can see how this is working. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start with, I already have these node package modules installed, so I don't have to worry about it. If you guys look at the package.json, it already has those things, so you guys can go and install those. I'm going to do some required statements for GCHEERIO. Okay, and then I'm going to use Axios. So I'm going to use Axios to get to do a HTTP call to get the data. Give it a try if you guys want to use the Node.js built-in HTTP module. It should be fine. But this one is easier, less code, so just use this. So I'm going to make a get call. Okay. All right. So this one takes in a URL. Okay, and then a then function. So I'm going to complete this before I start anything else. And then my then function takes in a callback function with the response. The response. Okay, let me copy the URL. Okay, oops, no, not this one. Okay. Now, what we looked at the Cheerio documentation. There was a load function over there, so it said let dollar is equal to Cheerio.load. Okay, and in the load you have to pass in an HTML, right? Remember there was a URL tag HTML in that. So where's my HTML? It should be in the response. So it's in response.data. Take a look at it, do a console log. In the response.data, you will see the whole HTML coming in. And we'll run this and see. Okay? Yes.
Is data a keyword, or could you put anything there?
No, it's a keyword. It's a response, and then there's a data thing over here. You can console log and make sure it's going to be a big. because I already ran this, so I know it is in there, but especially if you are doing new development, definitely give it a try to make sure. Why is it not indenting? Hopefully my data is right. Okay, so okay, let's cd dot dot cd dot dot fine scraping. So this is if I run this, this is the whole thing that is coming. So you see the, oh, it's a big one. No, let me do this. Kind of. Okay, that's better. So when you do the data, this is what I'm looking for. Kind of cut some of the things out. But you see, this is what I'm looking for. So it gave me all the HTML. Okay, so at this point, in response to data, I have the whole HTML. I'm going to stop that, otherwise it's going to keep running. And I'm going to load this in my Cheerio so that I can go ahead and parse it. All right. So let's go ahead and parse it now. Again, take a look at the documentation for Cheerio. They have a I don't know why this is not. Yeah, this function. So we're going to look at each function. So what each in Cheerio does is it will loop through the document, loop through your HTML. So what we are trying to do is we are going to loop through and find these p-titles. Okay, we're going to go through it and we'll say, so right now we have what, like 28. So we want to loop through and find these each p-title and then do some transformation on that. So how do you do it? It's the each function is similar to what we saw in jQuery 2. So it says $dot each, and then the syntax was function, callback function, index, and element. Okay, so I just have to put in a function, and it takes two parameters. One is called index, and one is called element. Okay, so this is how I'm going to loop through my document and get the information out. Okay, now in this parentheses you have to mention what you're looking for. So we are looking for p title. That's the one that is repeating, right? Okay. Now how do you mention it? It's same as we've seen in our jQuery method. So I'm looking for a tag called p with a class title. Okay, remember CSS? If you want to access something, you're styling, this kind of syntax that you use, it's the same syntax over here in Cheerio also. Okay, so what this syntax is saying, find the tag p and then find the class title. So only find the tags that have p tags that have the class title. Okay, when you're styling also in your CSS, you guys remember, if you want to style only your paragraphs with the class title, that's how you do it. You see p.title and then you style it. Okay, so it's the same syntax over here. All right, but remember, first before the dot is the HTML tag, and after that is a class. Okay, so the next one is I'm going to get the title out of it. So I'm going to say where let title is equal to same dollar, and then we'll see what it comes. So now I'm looping through. What this will do is p.title, it will loop through and it will get this whole element. So what it's going to get is this whole thing, because it starts from here, ends from here. It's going to get the whole thing, and it will store all of this in my element over here. So now all I have to do is I'm going to access it using the element. I'm going to say this is the syntax from Cheerio, dollar element. Anything that you want to access it now, you're going to use dollar and then whatever variable name that you give over here. So I'm saying now I have all this information. Now within this, I'm saying get me the text. So what it does is, since my p tag starts here, kind of ends over here, and within that the text is this part. So it should get me this thing. Okay. Let's go ahead and log title. Oh, I don't want this. Okay, so you see all this information is getting all these titles, all the text from my P element. Yes.
What is the index referring
Index is the number like 1, 2, 3, like there are 28, so it'll start from 0, 1, 2, and end at 28. Yeah. Okay. And the next one, I'm trying to extract the A part out. So I'm going to use the children function over here. So what I'm going to say is I'm trying to find the link. So I will say the URL link, same dollar element, so that I can get hold of the whole thing, dot children. Okay. So it's going to look in the children of this p tag, and I'm trying to find this href. Where's my href here? My href part. So href is a attribute. Okay. Remember that from the CSS. So I'm going to say find an attribute which is href. That should have my link log. Let's see what it comes back. Okay, so it's getting me all these links and all that stuff. Okay, now what I can do is I have this information. Let's suppose these are the two things I'm interested in. I can extract these out, put it in an array, save it somewhere, or do something about it. Okay, but this is just the basic example of this. Now, let me stop this. Okay. Any questions on this before we proceed? So this was kind of a little bit easier example because the HTML was a bit easier. We don't have to do a lot of stuff. But this is basically how you extract. Again, the difficult part over it is figuring out that pattern, right? What's the repeating pattern? How do you extract it out? And then just going through Cheerio and seeing what options they have. They have a children option. They also have a find method, and they also have a parent method. Right. So so the next two I will show you what the other two does. But any questions on this? Okay. So let's look at the second one, and this is all on your GitLab, so you don't have to worry about it. In this example, it's the same code. All right, so I'm not going to rewrite it, but this time they are looking at a different site. So let's go to this site and see what it is. Oops. I'm going to close these. I'm going to look at this one. This is the one that the example has. So now this is the hockey site. Yes. And in this, what our goal is to, again, you see these repeating headings. We have these links, some news. So I'm kind of trying to extract this out. All right. So let's take a look at the view page source. Oh, this kind of looks already formatted. Let's see if we can find this one. Okay. All right. So this is the headings, and I want to extract this out. If I take a look at it, let's see. What about this thing? Oops, it's my icon. All right. So how many results did I get? 29. That makes. So if I go through this one, kind of seems unique, and it has all the information. If I kind of link with this one, I can get the text out of it. All right. And the only thing is, if I want this aref, all right, I have to go up a level. We have seen children. So similar to children, we have a function called parents, and it will take us a level up. So the parent for h4 is ahref, right? So if I use the parent method, this should take me up over here. So that's what this code is doing. So again, set it up, load, same thing. Don't worry about the results. It's just putting it to an array, but that's not really important. The important part is same each function, and I'm looking for class h4. My tag is h4, and I'm looking for a class. You can pick anyone. Seems like it has mixed feed header and a headline link. All right. In this example, what they have done, they have picked one class. So you can pick anyone, and I'm looping through this. My h4. If I do a text, this should give me this part. And then they're using the parent method over here. All right, now element children goes down, parents comes up. So what I'm saying over here is, in this tag, go to the parent and then pick up this attribute over here. So it picks up the href, gets it, and it will display that. All right, makes sense? Any questions on this one? Good. So we saw two parents and children. The third method that is more important is the find method. So let's go to this one and see what this one has. So this side has a bunch of images, kind of tags, right? Maybe I'm interested in, I want to take this out and store it or show it. So if you take a look at, I'm going to copy this so I don't have to come back here. Similar methodology, I'm going to view page source, see if this is better formatted. Okay, yeah, this is formatted too. All right, so this is what I'm looking for. Kind of backtrack, either this is still attribute, maybe this is unique, kind of search for it and see, or maybe this is unique. Let's give this one a try. 3 of 32, kind of seems that this should give me everything that I'm looking for. Yeah, so this figure tag has aref, div class, photo, image. You can kind of get this and all this. So there are two methods you can do. You can pick this one and do a children, and go down the path. Show you the code for both. So this is the children that I wrote. What you can do is you can go to the children A. If you start from here, this is the first child. It's not very nicely formatted. Let me see if I can copy this whole thing. Where's the figure ends? Okay. You see a figure end. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's see if we can format this part nicely. Oh, this is a little better. Okay, so you see you have a figure. This is the parent, then you have a child A. Okay, and then within A there is another child div. Okay, and then within div there's image. So you have like a multiple children hierarchy going on. All right, so this is why what I did was when I wrote this code, I'm saying first this one. We'll come back to the find one. This one. So I'm saying go to element, find the child A. Okay, it gives me this. And then within A, go and find a child div. Okay, I get the div, this part. And then within div, there's another child called img or image, and which is this one. When you reach image, get me this URL out of it. I think I'm getting the, am I getting the URL? Yeah. And this will give you the URL. Okay, this is one method. You have to traverse through the children to get to that part, and then do it. The other option over here is if you use the find one, what it does is it says, now what is this element over here? This is this whole thing, right? This element has the whole thing. So I'm saying that, and I'm saying go in this element and find the A tag. And this is the A tag over here. Okay, on this level. If there was another A tag on the same level, it's going to pick the first one. All right. So kind of make sure that you write the code that you are actually extracting the information out. So within the A tag, I'm saying find image tag. And within the A tag is going to go and look for this image tag and then take this attribute out. Okay, that's just another way to write it. Whichever you feel like you're more comfortable, whichever makes more sense or understanding, give it a try and see what happens if you just put in element.find image. Right, just run it and see as a practice and see what happens if you find an A over here. Right, so this is my whole thing, but I'm saying just find a image tag within it. Let's see if there's any. Yeah. So just food for thought. What happens? Kind of go through it, console log, and see what it returns. But these are the mostly the three functions that you guys are probably going to use a lot. Find, children, parent. All right, of course, the load part on the top. All right. So this part over here, the split, seems like complicated, but it's not that complicated. What it is doing is, if you look at the URL over here, it's kind of tricky. So they have this URL, then they have a space, 1x, then they have a comma, and then they have another URL with a space 2x. Okay, so I'm only interested in the first URL. So what happens is I use a JavaScript split function and I say split on the comma part. Split and comma. Okay, so what will happen is it's going to split into two. It's going to split this and then this. Okay, and then I'm only interested in the first one, so that's why you see that 0 index over there. Okay, now what is a second split? I still have to split further because you see these are two separated by space. So I do a second split saying, hey, split it by space, and then just give me this URL, the first one. Okay, that's what the complicated kind of weird code looks like. That's what it is doing. It's a short way to write it. You can write in different statements, create a new variable, put it in it, and then kind of split it again. But that's what it does. Okay. Any questions? Good, kind of makes sense. Web scraping. It seemed a little bit complicated. It's okay. It's okay. Kind of get used to it, especially finding that pattern. I love doing finding the pattern and kind of figuring it out. That's why it was a kind of challenge when I first started it. But after a while, it kind of gets boring when you have to keep updating the same thing. But that's how you do it in JavaScript. Okay, this library kind of makes it a lot easier to go through it. Let's see. So take a look at these, and then this exercise, what it does is it's the same thing. Pick a site that you want and try to see if you can kind of scrape it, kind of get the information out. That's what it's saying. Any site will do. Take a look at that one. The code. Oh no, that's not what I want you to do. So, oh, they're asking you to do New York Times. My bad. So take a look at New York Times. Is this oh, this is an unsolved one. What do they want you to do over here? Or did I open the solved one? No. Okay. So I think at this point, take a look at it, run it. I think this is just an exercise. Work with a partner, your neighbor, kind of figure out what they're doing. Should be easy if you guys understood correctly. Find that, see if it's repeating, run this. Let's see if I have another one for your. No, that should be okay. So no, this part is implemented here. So there are two things you can do. Either you can evaluate this, kind of make. I mean, this is going to run, or put your favorite website or any website that you want to parse. Put it over here, replace it, load it, kind of look at it and see what you can replace it with. Yeah, give it a try. Any other website that you want to get the information out. Yeah, work as a group. Or if you want, you can run the code. We'll take like a few minutes and then we'll jump on to the next part. What? Did somebody say steal? We are not stealing anything. It's totally illegal.
80% of the internet is like scraped websites.
Yeah. Google does it. That's how you see the Google search. That's what it does.
Be a content creator.
And guys, here's the interesting part. A lot of developers actually intentionally do put those tags. And as Aaron was saying, it's for Google also. If you put in those tags, they kind of do a SEO, remember? They will search your tags and kind of come up with the results. So a lot of people actually intentionally do this so that, you can get the information out. So it's not stealing in software. It's dudes. Whoever gets there first is the winner.
Collaboration.
Whoever makes it easier. Whoever makes it easier.
Yeah, there you go. Whoever makes it easier.
Yeah. Application's great. But I can make it easier.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
It's saying it can't find the mod.
Right, so did you do npm install and all that stuff in your folder?
Yep.
Npm install should, on that folder,
Oh.
should do it.
I'm in the wrong.
Yep.
Well, maybe
How would that
it's
go into two
something
different ones?
Yeah.
What's the goal of this exercise?
What was that?
What was the goal of this exercise?
So there are two things you can do. Either you analyze the New York Times site, or you can replace the URL with something that you are interested in, change it over here and try to parse it, and then see, kind of get hang of it.
Well, why New York Times? Oh, well,
Well, so it's going on to the New York Times and it's going to pull the data, result being that's like the coolest of all. That just holds up the results, that it pulls this part.
New York Times is 9 years.
Yeah. You will learn soon that every website there's something going on. On your local, everything is perfect, but when you push it, there's some. There's always some error. I don't know why. And I hate that.
Oh yeah.
I know with the factory that didn't give it stuff. Do what?
You're not being
Oh, yeah, trying.
CD capital D.
I failed and I'm trying to find it. Yeah. Mostly at work because I have to 10 right now. So, I just got it.
But I thought I was in that. Yeah. I'm in the wrong thing.
Respond to that. Yeah, it just takes away that.
Yeah.
So always use
Okay.
be very frequent. The only time I've ever had anyone yell at me about like being slow typers is if you're not using that.
Oh,
So like you can actually be slow typers, slow spelling. Slow. No one's ever gonna yell at you. If you don't understand something, you will get yelled at.
Gotcha.
That's actually say no. Okay. So now do CD space capital U.
Yep.
Tap.
Wait,
So I'm trying to do Amazon and it timed out before.
That's probably like this. They probably have a lot of JavaScript or something.
No.
Oh, next to it.
And it's tap. I don't know if that's okay, but you spell out the whole thing. That's weird.
That's weird.
Try it on your regular keyboard.
Oh. Let's see what is.
Just trying the first one. Let's see what's it's all. I just type out what's all of them. Yeah, it should have totally.
Yeah, LS.
Yeah, do LS first. Let's make sure it's still in the correct way.
Okay.
Okay, so you
Now
did make it in.
Okay.
I don't know when you.
I did my npm install.
Okay, so
What was the HTML formatting website you used?
I just Google HTML formatter, and the first one that came up.
Okay. You got me to reinstall.
Or no, that's probably
That's it. Yeah. Okay. Alright.
Free online HTML formatter.
Delete like 3 keys. I just want to see if it finishes for you. Or just give it 1 key.
How do you select all?
Control A.
Yeah.
There we go.
Trying to satisfy my urge at that point.
Okay, I got like silver brackets.
Right.
Well, sometimes the site is already formatted. If it times out over here or something, look at the website.
Okay.
What are you trying to
Oh,
find?
I got that earlier. I didn't know I got it correct.
It's getting there. That's a lot of fun.
Find a new website.
Yeah.
So sometimes the website, I don't always format it. I first search for it and see. If it's kind of hard to understand, then I go ahead and
How
format
about a movie's website?
but it's a div.
Oh, Priceline?
it. Oh, that's a good one. Movies website.
I'll pull that up on the actual Chrome.
Okay. Now, I'm here.
You just.
We don't want to open it, so we need to actually go to the website we want to search.
Okay,
We
Priceline.
have to go and find some tags that we may have.
Okay, gotcha. Priceline. Okay. Cool. Oh. That's totally weird.
Maybe the ad version.
There we go. Okay.
What element did you go for on that one, Aaron?
What element were you looking for? Priceline? Oh, I just looked up Cancun.
Oh, you put it in the search. don't know, it came up. Did you have to give it a date and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, you can do it on any date.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So do an inspection.
So we got we do both. So we got yeah, we got the title was fine just as it was. The length is on the fine, so we just use this to kind of know why it was the element working through the title, but does that make sense? What work with what? So originally this was going for this element and it's a fine and then it was the title work. As it was, and we changed it to be this data selector.
So what's going on? So when you say element, you are saying the whole thing. When you mention that exact thing, then it skips everything. It's looping, but what it is, it's not looking for your element. It just looks for the hard-coded string, and it goes through the whole document line by line by line, and then finds it and then says. So it's just repeating, let's say 30 times, but it's looking for that exact one and it does it. When you put in element, then it like kind of scopes it, and then it just looks within it. It might is that
so that element
yes.
may not have been inside of
right. Right, exactly.
That CSS selector
right.
would have been inside that
yep.
element.
Yeah, it's probably not there. Yeah, that's right.
It might have been apparent.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It might be above or below or something.
Yeah.
So that's like it. But when you run this, you are saying hard coding. You are saying find this exact in the whole document. It's just running 28 times, but actually going through your HTML 28 times to find the same thing.
So is that inefficient?
Well, you have to see if it kind of slows down, then you might have to find an exact unique one what you're looking for, so that the loops are worth it, right? That's what I was saying, that you need to look at the pattern that's the least that will take least looping and least processing. Something that's so unique that it will give you the exact result. Because if you because it's going through your HTML, it doesn't know what you're looking for. It will find that exact string and give it to you. Now that string might not have that information that you're looking for, but still is going to parse it. So
does the element make the scope smaller?
The element is going to make the scope smaller because again, even the element, if you look at the first line, the .e. Right, so what you're doing the exact same. You're saying, hey, hard coding that only find this one, right, and then keep looping through until you keep finding that.
And then inside that loop, look through everything again.
No. Inside the loop, you will look within that scope if you use the element thing. But if not, then it's kind of trying to find that whole the whole document.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So that's why you kind of limit that and then do it.
Yeah, kind of not so horrible.
Yes,
I'm not sure if that is but it might be.
I was going to try
and run it.
No, let's run it and see what
Is it after that HTML?
Oh,
So it's one letter.
okay.
Or remove the node.
So original
one letter in the file.
Yes.
So one, just choose this.
Well, no, this is ours.
Do you think we need the whole line?
It was outside.
Well, that is the recurring thing though, that span class and then the inline tags. Right there. That one. Okay, come back here.
you will have to formatted and like like some split method or something like that.
We did that, right?
On the auto save, right?
Yeah.
Replace method, replace and space. Right, so there's the
Used to that.
It's not
Yeah, but the right place. I was just want to make sure.
We just have to grab the element that we like.
Better. It's everything except for right. So video source that might be easy. Or don't format it.
All of that.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, extra small.
Search for random.
What did you see in that?
Yeah, maybe whack.
There's so many classes.
Yeah. And I bet you it's unique to their webpage. Yeah, it makes sense.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
One of them.
Okay, so you're looking for this one. Okay, yeah, search for this keyword.
Well, you try to highlight it, it all comes up as one. Look up.
Is this one? Oh yeah, the free shipping. So look at the tag and search.
Or try another website. Maybe another one that uses Bloomberg or something.
Yeah, you can search there. Oh yeah, you can search for this one. Yeah. Cop, the URL.
Got one thing on that?
Yeah. Search for this.
And don't you like this to show you stuff?
Well, I'm trying to find out if this is weird. Then I can do it on the find for this
Because
one.
they thought that somebody off doesn't look anything like it.
What a major. So I need to find this one. Or is it already? Okay. Yeah, that's what. Let's find the site.
Because if you do,
Go back to the.
yeah.
So that so here's the easy part.
You say a comment,
We have
like,
well,
I mean,
more
like Jimmy don't have no hands, like in a bag somewhere.
there's no repeat.
Because he dared to ask a
You don't
question.
even have to do that. You can just search for it
Yeah.
without the loop.
So, what do you think about like a box?
Not to type the tag. Yeah, just search for one. You don't have to loop through it.
Head back to the main page.
You see what I mean? Because
Find the version that they have here, like article dot.
Article dot.
What I'm thinking is these on there, what have it.
They're gonna have it done.
Stuff on the couple stories.
the price. So well, where is that? Oh yeah, you're putting it. How do you change it?
That's like the chaos
Well, let's search for this.
My question is,
Yeah, you can set, and then you don't need to do what you don't even have.
Yeah, because if we go
So
down
you
to
can do
this
it.
one,
It's a dollar that dot find.
see, it says that it has two number letter labels on the clouds. And if you go here,
So this dot each, you don't even need.
exact
one.
same
You just
thing,
can
but
say
wait a minute,
that within the document just find exactly this thing and
That's
put it out.
IJ 836 F9. So let's look at them before we get this.
Is that second part
It's
also?
It's the same.
But is this one?
So you want to say dollar?
Oh, we're gonna find out real quick. So
Yeah. Well, anyway.
it's a 2 and then the UVI NWH. And wait a minute, I didn't want to go there. I wanted to hover. There it is. Oh yeah,
It's very time sensitive.
yeah. Guess
So you can say
what?
dollar and then search for
Let's
exact
see.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Just do that and see
Yeah.
what comes.
So
Do a
these
console
are
log
exactly
on
the
this.
same. The only thing that changes is the href.
No, you don't need
At least
to do
that's what it
because
looks
you're
like.
not grouping. That is just you can put this outside and it's
Well, they have. I haven't found one that starts with article.
it will give you the exact element.
Yeah, I found one that starts with. Well, unless maybe under.
Oh, no, I don't.
Where?
All right, I found something interesting when David was working on. Here's the interesting part over here. Let me show you a website. This thing. Look at this web. It's the meteor.com or something. Any website. Okay. Now when I look at the, if you do a inspect, you will see a lot of HTML and all that stuff, right? I would suggest don't do inspect. Now let's see what happens when I do a view page source. That's it.
Oh, that's a whole other animal.
Yep. So the problem, well, not the problem. The way they have built is that they have written the whole website in JavaScript, and they are doing on your browser. They are writing the code. Remember JavaScript, jQuery, we can modify the HTML. That's what they're doing. So here's the interesting part. If there's a, you go into your settings. Oh, did it come up? Oh yeah, it did. Let me do one thing. If I go into my browser settings and search for JavaScript, there's a content setting, and this one, JavaScript allowed, turn it to not allow. Okay, and see what happens. Let me copy this one. This is the exact same site when I turn my JavaScript off. Let me turn back on. Make sure you guys see. So you see? It's in JavaScript. So they have built the whole HTML using JavaScript. The unfortunate part is you cannot extract anything out of it because when you make a request, your server is going to exact this thing. It's going to get a bunch of JavaScript and all that stuff. So you can't really extract anything out of it. So when you are trying to do a web scraping, disable your JavaScript to make sure what you see on the website is available to you, and try not to write your code based on the inspect. What is happening in inspect? It's loading the whole JavaScript, and Chrome is kind of being efficient. That's what it is showing. But actually, that's not the true HTML anyway. This is all being done on the JavaScript side.
So how do you change that?
Disable this thing. So search for JavaScript. It's in the content settings, JavaScript, and then kind of disable it to see the website that you're trying to scrape is available HTML or not.
So how would you be able to access that HTML at all?
No, no. You can't, because it's the same thing. Your browser makes a request to the server, and all what the server is doing is sending you this. So you won't be able to do anything. That's all you will get. So there's no, at least I don't know any way how you can extract the HTML out of it. I don't know if you can run the JavaScript and get it out of it, but for our purposes, this won't work. Yeah. So before you begin, always disable the JavaScript. Make sure that the website that you're trying to scrape has that functionality. Okay.
I can see that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm having a hard time identifying what we should input here on the CNN side. It may not be possible.
What was that?
Just trying to see if we can target anything from the CNN side. Maybe what we do there. Maybe hiding it as well.
Search what I need to show me the CNN site.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah. So search for no.
Oh, right.
Search for that.
Let's see.
Oh, which one?
Any of them. They all have different classes.
Okay, well, these will have this would be different from this, but look at the font and everything.
Yeah.
The ones that do the classes
ones.
over these ones.
Yeah, the little ones.
Search for this thing. And see
How do you search it?
we'll go back to view source and just start tracking. Control F.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, sorry.
There we go.
Search for it. There we go. Same uppercase, lowercase.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
That's the article. Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. What is it? What it says more. Ask for no person.
No, this is what you're
Okay. Back here.
You're searching for this. These are kind of similar.
Read Muller's court filing.
All right, let's take it's kind of already 8, so let's take a 15-minute break and then we will come back. We'll do MongoDB. We'll kind of switch gears, go back to MongoDB. I'm going to take a look at that, sorting, and then how do we access Mongo from a Node.js. All right, so we'll start back in 8:15 and try to go through all these exercises.
There it is.
Or if you guys are not taking the break, no, I'm just saying those people who don't want. So this is the next exercise anyway. Take a look at the exercise. Remember, you need MongoD first. So what was it? Start MongoD and then go in there. Can start working on this exercise. Or I would say use Robo 3D because that's what I'm going to use to insert all this.
I'm telling you.
What was that? When your web scraping is like working overtime and
I'm trying to figure out why. So I got it to console. My title. So the title is looking at the H2 class child of the article. Class of that class. So it's finding the H2, which is the only one, and then I put in H2 dot and then the class name. And then
what I remember from Selenium was that it automated the you tell it like, oh, go here, click.
Yeah, it's still blank. And I'm wondering if it's because the title is wrapped in a span.
That could be. You might need to do H2 and then type and then child span.
So that'll get you the long-term title. If you want the text value, you use that.
To me, it's not clear.
Yeah.
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 It's interesting.
But it gets. What's the other thing that it gets?
Yeah, if it's targeting
So like it gets the link. That works. That A finds.
Yep, the
Oh,
link.
that's why I asked you. Oh, it's not? Then it probably won't find anything.
Hey Daniel, my title's coming out blank. I'm not sure why.
They don't have the. Where's your?
So this is how I have it set up for the title. I just find the element, which is this, and I know that this is working because it's getting me the link.
Okay.
But
you are then saying go element.
For this element, then I'm finding the child H2, which is only one.
Where's the starting page? This one?
It's this article tag.
This one?
Okay. So it's finding the child H2. I had the class on there and it still didn't come up.
Well, so go back. The element doesn't have a child called H2. There are a lot more.
Oh, I have to go through it like
right, or one by.
each
That's what I was
individual?
saying. There's a it has child.
So do I go child div class?
Keep going child.
But I have to be specific for each one. So like I would do element dot children.
Well, here's the quick. You can find out how many children does it have. You can do a children.net. Children parentheses dot net. After the parentheses. Dot length. And remove everything after that. This will tell you how many children does it have. So is it running?
Do you want me to just do this?
Yeah, just run. Let's go on the top. The first one. I see one. How many children do we have?
So it's all. So if you use the flag, that's all you're
There's a,
this one. So it says title 1. So it only has one child. Go back. Okay. Yeah. So if you go back to your HTML, so this one. This one. So you see, it's saying it only has one child. So everything is now you have to go here. And you get the child and you get the child.
So how come I was able to pull that to the A rep?
Try either you can do children, and keep going, or you try the find method.
Oh, that's why I was able to
that's
do
why.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can just do that. That's the difference. Try the find method and see.
I like this.
Fine.
super cool with that. That's not one.
What Korea don't you? What are you trying to say? Is it working?
No, absolutely not.
Is it all the code is in JavaScript?
Okay, that worked.
That
The
worked?
find
Yeah.
function was way easier.
That's the easier. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That there's a difference.
Do you remember which days we downloaded? This one?
Yeah, so what you had before, so if you console log price now, it should show up.
No, I haven't this computer. I have my own computer. But since I want to call this one. Pretty sure it's just-
There you go. I'd say that's it. And you're right, you gotta push it. And sometimes, well, you're pushing it on line 29. It's like, you just call it price. No equal.
Oh, right.
So you're pushing it in an object. Use bullets. And then,
Great database.
Very cool. No, they just happen to work.
All right.
you could put
And there could be a
price above result.
Dude,
No, leave that. I'm talking about line 34.
Yeah.
Yeah, so take that whole line and then put it right in your title. And then create, just type in,
Change anything,
just
yeah.
type in price.
Yeah.
Start charging. And then get rid of that console log from line 40. That way you're this one. That's how it works. There you go. Yeah, title and price. Makes sense?
Too late. I could have.
We need 10% spread. So we don't put a dollar amount, it's $1.10.
You should get on board.
You can try using trend.
I was 2,000 dollars.
You didn't know it was just really for that?
But it was super fun. On Friday,
You can try it. Usually
I could have.
pretty well.
It's just not as full.
Right, yeah.
It still sounds good.
So, yeah, jQuery is pretty powerful with Cherry.js.
It's kind of like an agent.
Does that make sense though?
But it's like a stronger version.
What was the last comment, David? What were you saying? The last part? No, you just said we are working hard or something.
And then, do you know how to link images to README? It says trying to read, or I was trying to follow the markdown, but I can't get it to work.
In GitHub,
Yeah.
images, you just need a URL.
I just keep getting a broken image link, and I think my path is wrong, but I guess I don't know how to do the relative pathing
You
for
gotta
it.
have a collection of animals, right? And then the indexes. is
Oh,
where
so you're
the-
trying to link an image like in your repo in the README?
No.
Indexes are
It's not like an image I found online, it's an image in like a screenshot.
Like so if I like to
Actually,
use that
so if I want to using URLs. Let me check the doc.
That's right out of Jason.
Oh.
Is anyone using this TV by chance? Yeah, I was watching. Are you?
He's messing around.
So, just come back, Jason.
You wait.
All in the same place, right? Okay. Okay. So I can do that. Now, this thing on the end, what does that mean? I can't remember that. What would you really call it?
It's just like
It's just a field that you have.
Oh, okay. It doesn't mean anything.
It's
Okay.
just a field.
Okay. Good deal. And I'll just add and edit.
No, up to you. I wouldn't use command line to do it, but if you really want, do it. I'm going to use robot to do it. Yeah. What was that?
signing up for better tour, are we gonna get like email
Huh?
server.js do that like I'm just kidding.
Have you tried navigating to your image in GitHub using that link and putting it in the README?
What do you mean? So like if I go
So go to your repo, go to the spot where your image are, and click on one of the images.
copy the URL.
Copy that link. Put that into the whole
page.
No, it's just the image. See the URL?
Oh, okay.
Alright, when you are back, start with the. We are going to
So I
switch
would
into
just copy
MongoDB
from
now.
here on.
So go ahead and do this
No, just copy the
exercise.
whole link.
It just says insert some rows. You can do it through terminal if you want. I would probably do it through Robo 3D. But you're just adding some, creating a table. Oh, sorry, a collection named Zoo, and then you're inserting some rows
There
inside.
you go. Okay, cool.
Didn't like mine either. Did you get this error?
So there's a way you can insert multiple. It's kind of weird. You're trying to insert multiple.
Oh, that's what I'm having, because I noticed the first one's highlighted, but all others aren't.
Yeah. So it has to be JSON and then a new JSON, JSON, JSON. There's no comma or anything. It's kind of weird.
Oh, no commas?
Nothing. Yeah.
It works.
Yep. Just simply copy paste JSON, JSON, JSON. That's how it works. I'll show you how it is. Let me create a collection first here.
So yeah. What's down? Ask for forgiveness. What the heck did I create? Animals? Well, now they have hands and bodies. Wrong. Oh, it's faster.
Oh, we did that thing where we did the JSON formatter, didn't we?
Yeah, you can use JSON formatter.
Okay.
So this will definitely insert one document. If I want multiples, it's kind of weird. I just have to put the new document after this. That's it.
The
Yeah.
new one that was accepted. See, I think I copied it from the other source. That's why it didn't work.
But okay. But if you want multiple, you just need a enter and then keep pasting documents. So it's going to insert multiples.
Okay, gotcha. Let's see if I can get rid of that.
Did you run MongoD? This has to be running. Remember? Mongod.
Long God, there is a God, there's a long God.
Yep.
Oh, now I think I get it. It's my personal order. Okay, correctly. So, how should it be able to look at?
Is any brave soul using terminal to insert it? Anybody using terminal? Any brave soul using terminal to insert it?
No way, dude. No way.
You don't like typing over there? Come on.
How am I doing small stuff in terminal? Big stuff's a pain in the butt.
The JSON formatter that you showed, that was such a big help.
Yeah. I use it more often than I want to accept it.
Yeah, I used that and Notepad++. Multiple inserts.
Yeah.
Formatted it all and just grabbed it and pasted it
Yeah.
in there.
Notepad++ is a nice one. Yeah. She use a text pad. The Notepad++ is nice. All right. Any issues on this one? Should be pretty straightforward, especially if you are using the Robo 3D. If you are using by any chance, which nobody is, the terminal. So you should be doing use whatever your collection name is and doing db.insert and inserting all that stuff. Okay. All right. So everybody should have that because the next exercise are kind of based on that. So they won't really work if there's no data. Let's see. All right, everybody good with the insertion part? Good. Okay, so we talked about the sorting part. I'll show you how do you sort in the terminal. So the command is sort. So I went to the terminal, switched to ZooDB that we created in Robo3D. I'm going to go ahead and search sorted. So say DB. Let me first show you the collection. So my collection has ID, name, number of legs, class, weight. What would I really call it? Okay, these are the fields. So what I'm trying to do is I can sort this based on any of these fields. Okay, so how do you do it? We'll see from the terminal. It's going to be the same command. So db.collection name, which is animals. Okay, dot find, same. And then the method is called sort, and that's it, sort. Okay. Now sort function is what you are trying to sort by. So sort has two options, 1 and -1 or -1. 1 means if you pass in 1, it means it sorts in ascending order. If you pass in -1, it means sort in descending order. That's all. Okay. So as any other function, it takes in a JSON. All right. So put in the curly brackets, and then you have to specify what field you're trying to sort. So let's suppose I want to sort by ID. Okay. So you will say ID, and then 1 or -1. 1 means ascending. So let's go ahead and try this one. Let's see. Pretty. So it sorts by ID. Okay, it's kind of hard to see, but and if you say sort -1, it's going to sort, it's going to do a descending order. Okay, it's not necessary. We can put in anything. Let's sort by number of legs. So I will say num legs -1. So it sorts descending order. Well, doesn't really show. Let's sort by weight. Oh, okay. Should be better now. 5, 60, you see, all descending order. And similarly, you can switch it to ascending order. Pretty straightforward, easy. Again, remember, it's the sort method, and then you put in the field that you're trying to sort, and then 1 or -1. That's all it takes. Right? Again, it just doesn't sort on the integer or number field. You can also sort on the string field also. Do we have any? All of them are mammals. So if I search by, let's see, let me try typing this in. What I would really call it. Okay, so you can sort by the string also. The string field, same ascending, descending. All right, give it a try. Write this code out. Make sure you get understand it's actually sorting. So again, db.collectionName.find and then .sort takes in a JSON. Put in the collection name, and then put in 1 or -1. So 1 is ascending, -1 is descending.
So what would you really call it?
You have to put an underscore before ID.
Well, is that how you define your ID? It should exactly match what you defined it. If you, this one over here is defined as underscore ID, that's why I put in ID. If you didn't, then you don't have to. All right, pretty good. Yes.
I'm not sure what's going on here. This looks right to me, but there's no results. Is it example uppercase E? Is it doing
Yeah, no, I don't see.
Oh, I think you have an S on the one. I think you have an S on the other.
No, go one out. Yeah. Examples.
Say again?
Can you do
Use
no space?
no space anywhere in that whole.
Okay.
No, there's no there's no S.
Check out the message that is
Example.
Okay. That'd be helpful.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, that's what I did do. So because it returns an error. Yeah.
Go back to, let's see, maybe go back to comment. What did you use?
Oh, uppercase Zoom?
So Mongo is kind of tricky. It doesn't, it's very forgiving. Put in anything it will. That has to be uppercase. Yeah. All right, so let's take a, everybody good? So let's take a look at the next exercise. In this exercise, what we are going to do is we are going to use the MongoJS, the node module. So go ahead and search for that. MongoJS, let's see, npm. So this is what you guys are going to use in the next exercise. So take a look at it. Again, as I said, it should be now kind of repeating factor. Any node module that you use, you have this. Take a, you see, so you do all this string. This is how you make the DB connection. Right now, you just need the first line. So what the first line is, if you read the comment, it says simple usage for local DB. If your local DB is running, all you have to do is given the name of the database and the collection names. Okay, so you don't have to worry about these. Again, if you have something deployed on Heroku, that's what you're going to see. You're going to put in the URLs. If you have a user ID password, this is how you're going to use. Okay, for now, in our use case, this should be sufficient. Make sure your MongoD is running. Any idea why this is an array?
You can have multiple.
You can have multiple, exactly. If you have multiple collections, you can say my collection, comma, my collection 2, and blah, blah, blah. Right now, we just have one, so we don't have to worry about it. Okay? Good? All right. So take a look at the next exercise and this one. See what it says first. So there should be an example. I'll show you the unsolved one. So there should be 2 routes that are already there. You have to look at it, analyze with your partner, neighbor, and then kind of make the same route in the next one and use the sorting. Okay. Let's go through this. Take a look at it, analyze the code. It should be, I'm hoping, it's kind of becoming familiar to you guys. Initial lines, what is going on over here, what is going on over here. This is from the documentation. So you are just saying pass in zoo animals or whatever you have given. Okay. This is all the code is there. App.get, if you do a slash route, it will return you hello world. All right. This is the one that's there. If you type in this, db.animals.find, and this is how you do it in Node.js. It is very, very similar to SQLize. The good thing about this is your terminal commands that you have, find, sort, and all that stuff, it maps exactly the same way over here. Okay, so take a look at this. Hopefully this makes more sense now, especially after we did the SQLize part and all that stuff. So look at these 2 routes and then create the other 2 ones. Okay, so since we did like a sort after find, oops, where's my so the sort function should be very similar. So you're literally going to say db.animals.find parentheses. Don't need all of this right now because I'm doing this in the sort. Then you will say dot sort and then put in whatever you had over here. Okay, give it a try. Look at the documentation and see if you're able to replicate the same command in your Node.js app.
it says /all. Are you able to change that to whatever you want?
Yeah, change it if you want. Sure. Yeah. If you want to change those, yeah, you can do that.
Well, I was thinking of like if I wanted to find one sorted by weight, I could change to get /weight.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. Yeah. You see on line number 48, that's what it says. Make it /weight. So the above two are references to do the find method, and the next two are you just have to add the sort method to it. Oh, if you just scroll down, they actually have the solution there too. So in the documentation.
So, where is it pulling the information from the collections of animals? Is it connecting to our Mongo?
What do you think?
Robo 3D?
Robo 3D is just a UI for Mongo.
I thought it was like MySQL database.
Right, MySQL Workbench. You
That's
see,
what
remember
I
the
thought
UI?
it was like that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But weren't we able to connect to MySQL Workbench?
Yeah, we were connecting to your local host. Remember the first pop-up comes up, it asks you where do you want to connect. You say localhost, you double click it.
But I'm saying, does the Robo 3T do that?
Same thing, same concept. So again, Robo 3D is just the UI. It's connecting to your MongoDB.
I guess I'm just confused on here because I don't have an analyst collection.
What collection do you have? What's it called?
I don't have any.
You didn't complete the previous exercise?
I was in the middle of it when we start the next one.
Okay.
Like this one?
Yeah. So in this one, what it is saying is you create the animal collection and then insert
Can I
something.
do it in here though?
You can do it over here. Yeah.
If I don't want to do that, I can do.
Well, you know, you're already connected to your database, right? That's why you're seeing stuff. So minimize classroom. So first thing you have to you want to create a database, right? So right click on the top. Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to make a new one.
Yeah. Create database. Okay. Create one. No, it's called. I think it's called zoo. Because animals is a collection.
Gotcha.
Yep. And then create. Oh, well, you have to expand this. And then right click on collections. Create. And then create animals. Okay. And then expand this, right click, insert document. And then you're going to insert few things, whatever the example is.
So then I can just go back and copy
Yeah.
and paste this.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, anybody able to complete the first one? Name. Sorry by name.
I want to know what to Google to get the format.
The format?
To look up the format. You Google, what do you type in Google?
You don't have to type in it. Did you go to the documentation for this thing? MongoJS? Search MongoJS npm and it will take you over here. And it's literally the second, this thing over here. That's all it is.
Do I have to wrap this whole thing in another object?
No, 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 you don't even need the commas. That's the weird part. Remove the commas. Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to error out. Yeah. That should work. Try that.
So then now I should have
view documents.
refresh.
I don't know if there's a refresh.
So now this should work.
Yeah. It should, yeah. If you have everything. Did you find it, David? Okay. So, anybody completed both? Name, weight? Straightforward. You guys are getting good at this. Alright, so if you guys open the, interestingly, if you open the next exercise, it should have the solution for this too. And the reason is because we're going to kind of build up on that exercise. So if I open this one. Yeah, so this should have the answer for that, right? Right, as most of you already figured out, it's just a sort function and then you put it. Similar to Sequelize, right? Okay, all right, give me like a couple of minutes. We'll go through this one because we are kind of switching gears again and you'll be doing some of the UI stuff. So what you guys did in the previous exercise, you already built the backend now. So now you have to do a little bit of the front end. So how this one looks like, let's see if I can run this. Okay. CD. What's the exercise number on this one? 0.
10. I think we're on 10.
10?
10's the one that's solved already, right?
Yeah, no, the next one. 11 then?
11 scraping into a DB.
Oh, no, then it's 10. Sorry. Yeah, this one. So let me run this first. Okay, let's go to port 3000. What is wrong with this one? Why is it not pulling my... Oh, because I named it differently. Ugh. I did a zoo, DB, and animals. I think that's what I did. Let me go back and fix that. Okay. Well, shouldn't have to. Zoo, DB, and animals. Let me make sure it's that what I called it. Zoo, DB, animals, yeah. And I should have everything installed, yeah. Okay, it's going to make me. Give me a second. Oh, that's better. Okay, so this is the final product that's going to look in the next exercise. Again, the backend, if you look at the server.js, all the routes that we did in the previous one are already there. So you just have to write some jQuery, sort this and this. Okay, 2 buttons. That's what it does. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if you want some hint, I'm going to show you what the kind of high-level solution looks like, and then you guys, if you want to do it in another way, it's perfectly fine. So all you have to do is modify app.js. There shouldn't be anything else. Okay, now close. Oh, I already did that. So okay, so if you look at the UI, we have 2 buttons, right? I'm clicking this, and it sorts. All right, so going back to jQuery, I should have 2 on-click methods. All right, that's what I have over here. I have minimized the function, obviously, so that you guys will go ahead and do it. But to give you an overview, you guys need on-click functions, all right? And then on-click, you will make those calls and then get the data and then update this, create a table, okay? Now, how does the solution look like? You have these, you're going to fill those out. $.getJSON, this is a jQuery method to make an AJAX call. So I'm making an AJAX call over here, all, and if you look at the server, it should give you all the animals. All right? Again, this is, don't worry about the set active. This is the bonus part, so I'm not going to go over it. But right now, this display results, if you see, an animals, a list is being passed in. Again, you don't have to do it, but this is kind of a nice way. So you create a function, display results, and in this, you're going to create your table. All right? So this table, you have TDs and TRs and all that stuff, right? But it's kind of dynamic because you don't know how many animals are going to be there. It could be 4 and 5 and 6, and that's how you're going to create it. So you're going to write some jQuery, put it over here, create that table, and keep calling this function. When you sort, right, this makes a call, gets all the animals, and calls this function, pass it in, and it keeps recreating that table. All right? No? Okay. So this is what you have to come in the end, right? You have to get the animals from your database, right? Using Ajax, make the call to your server.js. It already has those routes. Get the animals. Initially, when I click sort by weight, then it should sort by weight. And when I click this one, it should sort by name. Okay, that's what you have to do. Now, you can do it any way that you feel more comfortable with. You just have to update app.js with your jQuery. But the solution that I'm showing you is to give you a hint or kind of get a head start is These two are on-click methods that you have to do. Do something, make a JSON call, make an AJAX call, get the data, and then show it on a table. That's all you have to do. All right? Any questions? All right, give it a try and see how far you get. I'm hoping you guys are able to complete it. Because there's none of this is any Node.js or anything, just jQuery.
Is this on a separate file?
It's you already have this file. It's called app.js. So in your
public.
Yeah, in your right. If you look at the backend, it should already be done. Yeah, it's the same that you guys did in the previous exercise. Same sort method. So it's already done. You just have to update your app.js. So you're getting this data. So take a look at it. You have two more routes: name and wait. When you call name, it gives you a sorted by name. When you do a /wait, gives you sorted list by weight. So that's a hint that you have to call these two APIs in your app.js method. All right. If I had to take a guess, probably when you do a click, you have to make that call, get that data, and then show it in a table. And this is over here because as soon as your page loads, this is the first function that's going to get called, right? Because these are all helper functions. They are not going to get called. You are just defining them. You're calling them somewhere over here. Okay. So this will display everything. When I click this, then I have to make a call to /wait. And on line 54, I have to make a call to /name. I'm going to start expanding these functions one by one, so that if you know, can I give you a, if you guys are stuck somewhere, give you a little push in the right direction. Let's see, let's look at this one. /all is calling your backend API /all, gets the data and then displays it.
I think that one was already done.
That was already done. You guys so ungrateful. I know, I'm going to open display results in the end. But that's actually the main one. Were you able to complete the sort, this one?
Download.
The weight sort,
I'm trying to do the Ajax call right now.
Okay. Should be similar to line 33. So on line 33, you're doing the Ajax call.
Right. It's just that I have to do a sort part with it.
Well, you already have the sort API, right? /weight. If you look at server.js, you already have the API sorting. Guys, this one over here?
Yeah. It's the weight and the
Right, weight and name.
and name.
It's already there. So this should return you a JSON with all the sorted data. You open at least one of these. Again, don't worry about the set active. What I was saying is the Ajax call is on line 33. You just have to do the same thing with a different function, different API. That's all. So don't worry about the set active. So the real issue is on the display result. How do you make that function? So weight sort and name sort, you just have to change it. If you want to try it out, do a console log and make sure you're getting the right data back at least. If you are not up to the display results. Right?
Do we have to make a API call, or not API, route for the HTML before any of this can happen?
No, you don't need a route. You have the data. Don't have to worry about creating any route. All you have to do is, you have the data. You have to create a HTML table.
Right, but
in
like
your
if I go to
JavaScript.
localhost 3000 or whatever,
Uh-huh.
it just gives me hello world.
Because you're calling this API.
Right.
Which one are you calling?
Well, no matter what, no matter which API I call, I'm either gonna get, unless all is
No.
referring to this.
No.
It's
When
just
you
gonna
run,
give me JSON.
make sure you're on the right folder. When you run localhost 3000, it should display all the results. And the reason is, again, take a look at this one. This is function definition, doesn't get called, nothing is going to happen. Function definition doesn't get called right now, nothing will happen. The first function that is ever going to get called is not even these clicks, because this will only get called when you click.
Right.
This is the one that gets called every time you load the page. And this, what this does is makes a call, gets the data. Are you getting the data back every time? That's what you should be seeing on your console when you do a console log, unless you have completed the display results.
So this is just giving me JSON.
Right, it should give you a JSON back, yes.
But I'm saying, like, how do I actually get to the HTML page without making a route?
The localhost 3000 should bring up your HTML.
It just brings up hello
It
world.
Well, again, how are you running? Show me your, where are you? In this one? How are you running this? Right, are you in the right folder? You're in Mongo sorting, right? That's the problem. So you have to, yeah. So it should bring you the up heading and all that stuff.
I get confused because I'm in 10 here, but not all.
Yeah. So in your display results, you're getting a animals list. So you have to loop through the animal list. So take a look at how do you loop in jQuery? So what I'm doing is I'm creating a table, and then within the table I have animals rows. So each animal would be a row. So I have to loop. Look into remember the for each method of jQuery. That's what I have to use, and I have to create a row. Again, to give you guys a hint, this is what I'm trying to create. I'm trying to create a table with multiple rows, and my column would be these animal names, and have a T head. But I think the T head is already should be there in your HTML. Let me make sure. Yeah, T header is already there, so you don't have to worry about that. So this is, take a look at it in my T in my display results, this is the HTML that I'm trying to generate. T body, a row, and then all these columns. And your rows are kind of repeating. How many times? The number it repeats, the number of times animals are there. So if it is 5, going to create 5 rows. If it is 6, it should create more. So now you have to do is in your display result, you have to write your JavaScript that generates these elements. Yeah, at least you're in the right. Yeah, in the right direction.
Yeah. How would I do that? I want to do it in a folder on each of the class, and each of like the properties of the object.
So your data.
So I'm looking through all the data.
Right.
So each one of those like that's what I call the data. And I read through all the attributes.
Yeah. So this will loop through all the e's. So when you do e dot class.
Each of these have legs and weight and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. So you have e dot numbers.
Yeah. How do I look through all of the e's and attributes? Like all of them. Does that make sense?
Or if you add something, like if there's a
instead of like this, where I maybe like a class.
Oh,
How would I just loop through all?
no, you have to do this. You have to specify.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to specify what exact field you're trying to
get all the
do.
fields out.
So what I understand you're saying is if they add a new field on the database saying
Right. Instead of mark
tail,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right, right. And
How would I
then
just
it
get all of
makes
them?
oh yeah, that's
Is that possible? Can I do an inner for each on the E?
the thing is that your JavaScript on your browser doesn't recognize like an individual field unless you specify. When you say e.numlex, then only it says, okay, I'm going to go and look at it. But I don't think it knows how many fields are there. It's like the JSON ones.
Okay.
That's an interesting one.
If I figured that would be the best way to write it.
Oh yeah, that way if you can figure it out. Maybe is there a parsing? If you parse it as a JSON and then try to loop through it, we'll have to give it a try.
As JSON?
Yeah, convert that string into a JSON and then try to loop it. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
That'd be less code, you know, and it'd be
Yeah.
more sustainable.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, so let's take a look at this one. I'm going to close these. So the for each goes through the list, and all it does is adds a column to your row. So this one is going to create, since tr is inside your for each, is going to create a new row every time. However many animals are there. This line is important because every time you call this function, it's going to clear the table and then recreate it, because you're going to call the table multiple times. You're going to call this same function when you sort by name, when you sort by weight. So you want the table to go away and then create a new table. So that's why it has like kind of empty. So t-body, everything will go away next time you call it, and then it's going to recreate the whole thing. Oops. Let me see. All right, any questions on this? It's kind of revision from the previous classes. How do you do this in jQuery? Again, if you guys kind of didn't remember, I would highly suggest go back and take a look at the previous jQuery class. But I'm sure if you guys look at the code right now, it kind of should be making sense. You're like, okay, yeah, that's how you do it. It's just like remembering the syntax again. Takes some time.
How does it know which TD to append or to add the text to?
It doesn't care which TD.
It just goes in order.
It goes in whatever order these animals are. Yes.
Does it make a new one? Is that the $sign TD is?
Yes.
It makes a new TD?
Yes, it makes a new TD and adds the animal in. That's why you have this column over here. So it creates a new TD and adds to it. And if you look at this, and each TD is tied to a row, so it will go through the first row, create TD, and done. Then it will come back and then create a new row, and then TD.
TD stands for what again?
It's TR is table row, table data. Okay, that's what it's called. But basically, it's a column. Okay. All right. Any questions on this? And we'll move on to the last one. So we saw the web scraping part. We saw the Mongo part. The last exercise, you're going to take the code from the first one and then put it on MongoDB. That's all it is. So you're going to scrape a website, get the link in image. What you can do is you can use the same code that I showed you from the previous exercise. If you want this one, you can use the same site, put these things. The target for the last exercise is you're going to get this, write this code, and then put it in your Mongo database. So you're going to create a new collection, a new database and a collection. All right, and you're going to take that scraping code and then write a route over here that will go ahead and push the data into your MongoDB, the database that you create. All right, so first create a, call it like scrape data or something. Oh, yeah, they already have the name over here. And then create a collection called scrape data. All right, then write the route, two routes. The first is going to be all. The second is you can call it scrape data. Let me show you the hint. So this is what you're doing. /all and /scripts. /all, you're going to use the find method for MongoDB and get everything that's in your database. Scrape is the one that you're going to create a collection. You're going to take the data. Well, you're not going to take the data. Scrape will go ahead and make this. It's going to be similar to this call over here. Okay. So in your script, you're going to kind of somewhat code this out. You're going to get these two things and then insert into your MongoDB. All right. So you don't have to pass anything when you call the scrape route. Just do the whole thing inside the script. So inside the script, you're going to make a call to any website you want, or you can just copy the same code. Get the information you're looking for, take these two, and then insert it into MongoDB using the db.collectionName.insert method. Take a look at MongoDB documentation and just write the insert method. And the first one is going to be .find. All right, any questions? What you're supposed to do? You're just scraping the website and then storing it in a Mongo database. Oops. If you're following the exact same example, this is what the database is called, and this is the collection inside the database. So you'll have to at least create these two in before getting the data. It's called scraper, and scraper is the database name. Go into Robo 3T and collect those, make those two, and then make a collection within it, scrape data. That's all you can do, because in the slash script we're going to insert, and as long as the collection is there, Mongo doesn't complain. It's going to should insert the data. But you need to have the This is the database name and this is the collection name. These two need to exist before any of these will work. It's interesting, I never saw this before. Mongo using express. It's always been there? I don't know. Because this is written in modern. Hopefully you guys can create a project better than there. Stone. Huh? Stone? Huh? Look at the what?
Look at the one behind the screen.
The same thing?
That's right.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, all the screens have it. Oh, is it like a screenshot and you put it over there? Is that what it is? No? Oh, okay. Is it like a phishing scam you guys are running over there? ID and ask for your password or something? Maybe. That's why Fernando on the side was like, hey, why did you try this? Why did you try this? Look at it now. Yeah, see? No, not me. So anyone able to complete the at least the all part, the /all? Just have to write the find. You can copy the find method from previous. Kind of looks like. So just replacing the collection name and using the same find method. This is like nothing else over here. And you are just searching the whole collection and saying, give me everything that's present over there. So if you run this right now, it shouldn't give you anything because you haven't run the next route. So you'll have to run that next route first before you get anything back.
Shouldn't the next route be above it then?
Oh, you can keep it above, it doesn't matter. Sure. No, the order doesn't matter. You can keep
Yes, it's true.
So let me give you a hint for the scrape part. Forget about the URL, but if you take a look at xuse.get URL then function, it's literally the same copy that we saw in the server in our first exercise. If you look at this, so it's the same thing. So either you can use the one that we saw in the first one, or if you're kind of feeling you want a little bit more challenge, you can put your own URL and scrape it, but it's the exact same thing. Over here it's a different URL, but I could take this exact code and put it. It should still work. The only thing now you guys have to add in this code is after you have done all the scraping and everything, you need to insert this data in Mongo. So as soon as you complete this, inside this function, you need to insert the link and whatever you guys are getting. So kind of similar to find, just have to look up the insert method and call it over here. So we are almost at the end of the class, 5 minutes. I'll quickly show this. I'll upload the solutions. What I was talking about is this is kind of same as the first one. So all this is all scraping part. You're scraping this, so no need to go through this. Look at the first one. Once the scraping is completed, so you did the db.scrapedata.find. Similar to that is the insert method. All right. Just have to insert whatever you scraped, and this should go in your MongoDB. Okay. Any questions? So this one is looking at the different URL. That's why you see different code. But you could totally do this URL at the end. Just do an insert. Okay. So we don't have the time for the last one anyway. I was saying we won't get to it. But let me show you how it looks like, and I'll upload this solution also. From what I read, it's very similar to what you have homework. So I would suggest take a look at unsolved, try to see if you can solve it before looking at the solution. But the solution kind of looks like the same as this one that you guys just did, just like a different interface. So let me go to CD 12 solved note taker. I can just refresh this. So it should come up something like this. Title, note, you can insert a title, note. When I click save, it should submit, it should go and insert this. So this is in your MongoDB, it goes ahead and inserts it. You can add some more notes here. Submit, it adds it. When I click the cross, it's deleting it, so you're calling a delete route. I can delete it. Or if I do delete all notes, it's basically calling remove all. Right? That's what it does. So very similar to what we did just now. Take a look at unsolved. You just have to update the routes. You just have to create all these routes for all the all route object, the get routes and all and the post route. That's what you have to create. So take a look at it before looking at the solution. This kind of will help you with your homework. This due next week. Let's see if there's anything different here. Yeah, all of these routes kind of similar. All you're doing is inserting and calling the MongoDB find methods. So the methods are kind of similar to SQLite. Take a look at the documentation. Very similar. Shouldn't be any. The syntax is almost, you can copy the same syntax. I don't see any difference between them. All right. Again, you have a choice, MySQL or MongoDB in your last project. All right. Any questions? Okay, that's all for tonight. We'll see. We'll go over different, again, a different JavaScript library called Mongoose on Thursday. We'll see some more exercises. We'll take a look at that, and that should wrap up MongoDB. All right. All right, you guys have a good question?
I'm getting a weird error.
Okay.
It's saying it's saying converting circular structure to JSON. So
So the insert, where's your callback function? You should have a callback function, right?
Here?
Yeah, when you do a insert, it's same as the any other sequelize or anything. You should have a callback function. So you see this? So insert, you did it fine, but you need to have this. Always there's going to be a callback function in these statements. So that's why I say. So you did this part right, but you're missing this callback function over here. Let's see. Yeah. So you did the insert, comma, callback function. Yep, that's all done. Yeah, you don't have to do anything inside the callback, just have to mention it. So just create the curly brackets. You can make it empty. Is it in the right? So you see insert, this thing ends over here, and it has one parameter, which one? This one? So this one ends over here. This has some code, but you can totally skip this. You don't have to do it right now.
Right, but I need the curly brackets. When I do the curly brackets, it gives me an error. What read? Are you
Yeah, because this thing is already running over here.
Thank you. Good assist.
This function.
So yes.
I do want to comment. Just comment this out. Start from this start having insert, and then put parentheses first. Insert parentheses closes semicolon. Yes. Now let's do the first. Do the objects, empty object, comma. No, don't do anything. Comma. Create the callback function.
What do you think what we were doing today?
Error inserted, and then curly brackets.
Yeah, this was
Okay.
it's good.
Yeah, now we
pretty
can.
confused on this. Yeah, that's great. So, yeah, not sure what's
So then,
what I do is I
still
go
use
by
the
the
board.
heading, what I'm looking for, and then search that. If I'm looking for the line, that's the easiest way. Like the heading and then search for it. That's all.
heading was like shitty. It was.
And we had,
lack of a better way of putting
they had like kind of
It's gotta work.
there's like little weird.
What's it there now?
Still the same error. Hurting circular structure.
And then straight out, like, we tell the wrong pilot, and it's that song. So I'm like,
Oh, what is it? This.json.
yeah, that's the word. Heart attack. I couldn't say it.
Kind of parsing for that.
Yeah, that's what's circular.
Yeah, so.
So how do you get it to show in the window?
Like have an app. It had to turn master reflux. You have whatever you had plus.
So you got this.
Which are god-awful.
So like I have the get.
I mean, when you
So
do
it's
the full nature of
not
it
showing
also-
on the window. You're storing in your
Yes,
MongoDB.
yes,
That's all you have to do. You don't have to send anything back.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, just have this. If it runs, it should. Your MongoDB should be storing something. Yep.
I think it has something to do with.
So if I go to scrape, should I see anything or no?
No, because you're not passing anything back. Just put in scrape.
They put something.
Well, you don't have anything in your database right now. But that's good.
Nothing
Go ahead.
Shouldn't I have inserted this?
No, you did the all route. This is the scrape route.
I created the table.
And all you are pulling back and
Right.
and scrape your inserting. Do the scrape first. So if you call the scrape, if it works, it should go and insert. Then the all should work.
So this should be a function.
No, everything is good. You need to call the scrape.
So I have to go to the scrape database.
I don't know if I'll do that on its own.
Okay, I'll go back to your listing any errors.
We got our tickets on the screen. We're gonna hit all the stops. Back and forth.
Go back to look at your MongoDB. Did you create the script database now?
when it does make
Lots
sense.
of
Right click.
So,
and
as long as I can, in like the last hour, I think we just did like 6 activities.
Is this the same?
I'll go home, I'll go back
What
and start over on the classic, and then I'll kind of see stuff. And then I'll look at the solution files and I'll see the patterns. Because when you look at the solution files, here's the pattern. That's how you call it. That's how you call that. That's how you call this.
This is their
Because last time what the pattern looks like.
Okay.
Kind of hard to
So
know.
it's impossible to do like
Yeah.
We all is looking good.
And you guys go to
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's the same code over and over and over. The only thing that changes is a teeny bit of their content.
there it is.
But not their whole code. Just their links. Just their links. No, and I'm not even.
Oh, these are new.
I'm not even holding myself up.
Yeah, like I copied and pasted this from the other one. I'm not doing anything.
What I think Aaron did working with him on this last project is this all works with him more than anybody. Is theoretically he sees things. That's the stage I want to get to because in teaching I can look at things and see all the sum of all the parts. But yet,
I mean, you can
picture
just
before I
ignore
start.
it. It's not a big
He's
deal.
got a game plan. Yeah.
No,
Just
that might be-
dictating his
go back,
moves now.
Put it back.
Yeah.
And
Whereas
then do a
I'd
right
say
click
90%
and
of
format.
people are like, wow. Yeah, what do I do now? Try this. Mm-hmm.
Let's try that.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how that works.
And I know
Minimize
based though.
this.
No.
Yeah.
Gonna do what you're gonna do.
I was gonna send you this interview.
Yeah, so you
I was
do
watching
this is
some YouTube.
I think it's good.
of this kid that just landed a
Okay,
sweet
yeah,
job.
open.
He was talking about his experience.
Minimize the Axios part.
In his whole group of classmates,
Yeah.
the last person who had a job was the one that blurted out every answer and everything right away.
So, and you have
That
this.
doesn't mean you're a coworker. If you
dot
know everything.
image.
It's funny you should say that because I'm a guy
I think it's kind of studying this. Minimize
who's
this.
taking another class. with
Well, you
somebody.
copy the whole thing. Okay.
And
Expand this.
those are literally
Let's do like a
his
console log.
Who's just started.
Where?
And he
Yeah,
said to
after
me,
this. Your console log and title.
You're at the tail end, you're in the final quarter or whatever.
Type.
And I go, yeah.
Let's run this.
And he goes, any advice? And I said, look, I can't talk to you about being in this industry. I've never worked in this industry. I can tell you this. The world doesn't need another asshole coder.
Oh, why is it
I
calling?
said, so when you're working in a group, being amenable and being flexible and being all those things, I just know that stuff works.
Because you didn't even do anything.
give a
in
task.
it.
I go, we being, you know, you wouldn't need another douche.
So why are these
There's plenty of
logging?
douches out there.
I did
You
console
get
of
2
the
weeks
title.
to leave like
Yeah,
one
but
piece.
this is it has to be called somewhere. Oh, you have this outside your thing, whatever.
It ain't a race.
But I know enough to know that
So
when I
you
look
know what I
at
mean?
some
I'm
of the
saying that you
hardest
have to type inside.
websites
Then only it should
that have
execute. It
like all
shouldn't be
kinds of
executing.
shit going on them, I can't remember which one I was looking
Why
at.
is it running right
But
now?
it is so busy.
Well, it's not even.
It is so busy. Oh, I know what it was. It was well, CNN was extremely busy, but ESPN because they got streaming video, they got news articles, they got a bunch of stuff.
Those little game casts that do live updates, you know, just keeping balls and strikes and like the little thing that
Is it because I'm trying to get
shows
it
like, oh,
automatically?
space hit to left
No,
field.
why is
And
it?
so
So
when
you
you
have
look
to
at
call
the,
this
so when you
route
look
to
at
get
their
it.
code,
I mean, I'm already on
your
that
first
page. Is
response
that
is
why?
to go,
Well, why is this
Right.
waiting for
but
Should I
then,
just go 3,000?
because if you look a little closer,
Go back.
There's a way to
Stop this and
if you know where those are,
In fact,
because they have their own coding system for how they label
go
stuff,
back to your
makes no damn
browser,
sense
put
to
in the
us.
scope and see.
you know, you make a class and give it some little name, right? And they've got
Okay,
like
so-
24.53.
So
You
it
know,
is
I
getting
mean,
this.
they probably have
gets
some kind of hit
this,
sheet, you know, they code everything for their,
comes
Oh,
here.
sure.
yeah.
They don't want
So
people
is it
doing it. We
getting
just
some?
Well, and for the average person, you're not gonna look at their website and go, oh, I know where that is.
Then it goes.
Yeah.
So,
so you think the
so
ratio would
nobody
be
runs-
legit ratio of people that ever
hop into the dev tools on ESPN.
Oh yeah, your
pretty small.
collection name. What is your collection name? On the top, it's not scraper. It's
Something
the
like that.
database name is scraper.
And
Well,
that's
your
great.
app,
So
your
much.
like
Scrape
your
data?
short games.
Yeah.
It's
I thought it was the database name.
No, no, db dot collection name
the
is the
source of like a Google page, for example.
So-
All class names are just like do like they have their own like, little acronym or whatever. So instead of having a super long class name, I can use, let's say, I don't know, however many
every single
bits and lines that it takes. Use three letters.
They probably have a way of fractally saying, they probably have a coding system.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because their website, the content is good, but the way they're structured probably doesn't.
So should we check to see if
It's probably very similar.
It's got a little sticky note next to their monitor that says,
Well,
don't,
no,
don't move.
And also you can think of it this way. So
So then if I go to all, it should show them all.
like 3 lowercase letters, for example, for class name, you have 26
So one of the things I wanted to talk after class,
right? That's how many different
not pertaining to any of this.
Okay.
It's the last thing I need for my app. So in the Leary app, we're supposed to call an FS read file.
FS read file. Okay.
So we're using the package file system or whatever.
Uh huh.